Couple more questions, Jim. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Josh. I know you guys are very critical of Jon Moxley's work. I read years ago...
I'd even be more critical if I ever saw him do any of it. I haven't seen him work yet.
I read years ago that he works the way he does with weapons and blood, etc., because Terry Funk is his biggest influence.
Oh, God.
He asked WWE for permission to work like Terry years ago.
Oh, God.
And that has been the catalyst to his style ever since that has been the catalyst to his style ever since considering he used to be very technical, like William Regal. I'm guessing...
I think there should have been a comma after ever since.
Something was wrong there. I'm guessing you don't think he is anything like Terry, and neither do I, but just for entertainment and education for today's pro wrestlers, what makes these guys so different from one another?
And again, here's a guy who all he saw was Terry Funk in ECW. And, Marty Funk did show me a picture one time she took up there of Dory and Terry wrapped up in barbed wire, not having a barbed wire match where the ropes had been replaced by barbed wire, or there was barbed wire around the ring post so you couldn't get out of the ring, but actually wrapped up all in barbed wire. And they're both in their fucking 50s. And what the fuck? But it's the same thing with people seeing Mick Foley and wanting to be garbage deathmatch wrestlers because they're not smart enough to look deeper, or seeing Rey Mysterio and thinking, I'm 5'2" and 135 pounds, so I can be a wrestler too because Rey Mysterio can. And now Plumber Moxley thinks he's Terry fucking Funk. And that's because these nitwits, I don't know if it's just being born stupid or whether it's the effects of various habits they have of being concussed weekly or whatever the fuck Moxley's done to his brain. But they can't look past the cover to read the actual book. Yes, Terry Funk in the 90s was doing the ECW barbed wire stuff and breaking tables and went with Cactus over in Japan and did the garbage death matches for a ridiculous amount of money. More than anybody's ever been paid to do death matches in the United States. But in the 80s, he was a territory worker who could have any kind of match. He had the double juice match and the wild chaos with Lawler. Or he could go 60 minutes with his brother Dory over in Japan in the tournament match. And nobody breaks a fucking rule because they're wrestling and they're brothers. Or in the 70s, he was the NWA World Champion. And he could either be a heel or a babyface and wrestle without blood, without furniture. Every top name in the NWA, or before that in the 60s. He's the young white meat babyface kid brother of Dory Funk Jr. that's, all the young girls in Amarillo love. He was around for 50 years, so he did different things at different times. But if all you can take away from Terry Funk, one of the great promos of all time, one of the great ring psychologists, one of the most intelligent guys in wrestling about where it was heading and what had gone on, the son of a legendary promoter. But all Plumber Moxley sees is that, oh yeah, Terry Funk was wild and broke furniture and set himself on fire and used a branding iron. So I'm going to drink blood and gargle bones because I'm weird like that. Fuck, he's not from fucking Cincinnati. He's with all the other goddamn bums on the side of the road in Newport.
I don't get the reference.
That's because you ain't from there. But let me tell you, anyway, point is, no, Jon Moxley is about as much Terry Funk as I am. And you can't be Terry Funk because there was only one. And for all that Moxley, I guess maybe he scares these pussies that he shares the locker room with, and or the pussies that are good. Because right now, to be honest with you, I look at the front row in the AEW shows, and I wouldn't be scared of those fans if it was Louisiana again. I wouldn't be scared of those people jumping the rail and kicking my ass. If I were them, I'd be afraid I'd jump over there and kick theirs. Because the fans aren't intimidating anymore, just like the wrestlers aren't intimidating anymore. But I've seen Terry Funk go out into an arena, confront face-to-face, nose-to-nose, grown adult men that he's never met before and that hate his fucking guts, and back them down with his fucking expression. If Moxley tried to do that, any one of these fat neck-bearded fucks would just slap that piece of shit in the face. He's not intimidating. He's playing a part. He's playing a role. He's trying to be Terry Funk. He can't. So, no, I don't see it, and that's the difference. Terry Funk was Terry Funk. Jon Plumber Moxley is a not very intimidating, balding, middle-aged looking, prematurely aged fuck that can't work and has no psychology and does good promos if you can overlook the fact that here's this bum off the street talking like he's a goddamn vampire and a mass murderer. Sorry. Ain't no Terry Funk there. If Moxley lasts 50 years in the wrestling business, let me know. Then he's Terry Funk.